What's going on, people, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about mixing an entire project and how you can get it to sound the same all throughout, the same levels, but also how you can do it efficiently. I recently mixed the Tiny Boost project, the most recent one. Go check it out. And when I received the job, I was a little bit anxious because one, we had a deadline, and two, I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to get it done on that deadline. I knew I needed to be efficient. I knew I had to be on point. I knew I had to really work hard and crack down to get this project finished by the time they wanted it finished. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of information online, especially YouTube, that I was looking for. But I'm going to show you what I ended up doing and the process I did to make it kind of sound similar all the way through sonically, but also make sure that I could get the project done efficiently. So first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is get the stems. Now, communication is going to be a big part of this whole process. It's really important, and I can't stress this enough. If you're a producer watching this and you're sending stems to mix engineers, like, just let your client know to go over the stems before they are sent, because I spend so much time in my job going back and forward with artists, with producers, my clients, whatever. Maybe I've mixed a track for them. I send them the first version and they listen to it and they go, oh, the vocals are out of time, or there's a sound missing, or something's not right here. And that's because the stems were sent to me out of line or whatever it might be. But if, you just take a couple, 10 minutes just to go over your stems and make sure they're bounced properly, then it will save a lot of time in the long run. So that would be my first tip, is just let your client know, just make sure that you've gone over the stems so that when I load these up in Pro Tools, they sound exactly how they're meant to sound, because that's going to save you a lot of time, trust me. You're also going to want to get demo mixes. Now, demo mixes are really important, and there have been times where I've started mixing a song without listening to the demo mix first, and every time I've done that, it's been an L. Trust me, like, it's no point trying to guess how the artists want their song to sound. Have a listen to the demo mix. Make sure you get an idea of what vocals are meant to be background vocals, what are meant to be ad-libs, if there's meant to be any chops in the beat or whatever. Like, it's important to kind of get that information by listening to the demo mix. Another reason that you need to get those demo mixes is I'm going to show you a process that I used using a little document I got here that I'm going to show you in a sec. But the process is basically this. You're going to listen to the whole project, right? You're going to listen to all the demo mixes from track 1 to track whatever it might be, 15. And you're just going to get an idea of how the tape sounds. Just listen to it in your earphones or in the car, whatever it might be. Just pick 2 songs out of the tape, what you think kind of define the project's sound, right? Sonically, what do you think are the defining songs? And they don't need to be the singles. They don't even need to be your favorite songs or whatever, but just songs that you think, okay, these songs are going to be the basis of how the rest of the tape sounds when I mix it. I'm going to show you why in a sec. So I basically created this here checklist. Okay, now this I made this on Google Sheets. You might be rich and have Microsoft Word and have Excel and all of that, but I don't, so I'm using Google Sheets, which is free, by the way. So I'm going to put a link to download this little document in the description below, so you can get it and you can use it when you're mixing a project. And basically we have these sections here. So the song titles, obviously you're going to name these songs. You got this section here called mix setup, and for me this is setting up your mix, getting all the stems in a Pro Tools session. I like to gain stage a little bit in this this part of the setup, this part of the process. And by gain stage, and I mean just get your levels where you roughly want them to be, like where you want your kick to sit, where you want your vocals to sit. Just, I think they call it static mixing, where you're just using the faders. You're not using any kind of plugins yet. Solid start, which to me is after I've been mixing a song for maybe an hour or so, to the point where to my ears, I'm like, okay, this is starting to sound good. Obviously, we're going to be taking air breaks. So after that solid start, I like to have an overnight ear break. So if I mix a song for an hour and I'm like, yeah, this is sounding good, I like to park it off, come back in the studio with fresh ears in the morning, and then work on it some more. And usually there could be another half an hour to 45 minutes work. For me personally, this is my process. And that when I've mixed it the next day and I'm happy with it, then that's my first draft. So the solid start is the first day I'm mixing, like the first hour. The first draft is picking back up and just finishing it off a little bit. So then we're going to bounce it off. Car and phone testers listening in your car, and if you can on your phone, and if you can a car. If this is a big project and you're something you really want to make sure is right, maybe think about, I don't know, booking an Uber or something, or like just sitting in your mum's car or someone's car and just listening to your mixes, because man, the car test can really pick apart your mix, trust me. Revision, so that's like you take notes when you do your car tests and your earphone tests and your phone tests. Just take some notes, and then come back in and do those revisions. Send is when you've sent it to the artist. Artist comment is the feedback that you get, like the main things that need changing, and then we're going to master the track. And what I mean by master in this sense, because obviously I'm mixing it, that's just making sure all of the tracks are the same level volume wise. And that's my little checklist. And basically, you're just going to write the track names in here. And remember I said that you want to pick 2 songs out of the project that you think are kind of like the basis, the cornerstones of the project. You're just going to put a little, say it's track 6. Oops. Just put a little star next to the song. So say 6 and 9. What's going on there? Oops. 6 and 9 are your tracks that you want to be kind of, which you're going to base your mixes on. Okay, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean in a sec. So you want to get started on this project now. You've done all this admin stuff. You've got your stems. You're happy with the stems and everything else. So say you're starting the project now, starting mixing the project on Monday. I am more productive in the morning, all right? So I'm going to split my day into 2 halves. For me, 10 to like 1 are my most productive hours personally. My ears are fresh. During the afternoon, I get a little bit sluggish and a bit, bored. My attention span gets smaller and smaller. So my most productive time is between, let's say, 9 and 1. And that's when I'm going to be doing the bulk of my stuff. But anyway, this first day, Monday, you're going to get started straight on track 6 and track 9. These are going to be your most important songs, I guess, in this part of the process. And you're going to set up your mixes for these 2 tracks, and you're just going to check your boxes here. Now, mix setting up for me can take anywhere between half an hour to 45 minutes. It's not something that's quick, for me anyway. Like I said, I like to do a bit of gain stage and a static mix as well. So yeah, we're going to come in, we're going to get started. Track 6, 7, we're going to set up the mixes and we're going to get a solid start on them. Now, usually I don't like to do the mix setups and start mixing on the same day. I just like to separate it a little bit. I don't know why. It helps me with my concentration. But anyway, for these first 2 tracks, because they're the most important, we want to get them done as quickly as possible. We want to get these sent off to the artist ASAP, because these are going to be, we can't just go back and forth and send the clients songs for revisions as we go along. And you could mix all 14 tracks and you can send it to your client, and then they might say, they sound good, but all of them, the vocals are too loud, or the bass needs to be turned up on all of them. And then you're going to have to go through each one. And something that's so general like that, it's going to take more time than you need to take. Whereas if you get that feedback on the 2 songs and they say, you know what, I don't like my ad-libs like that, or I'd rather there be more kind of low end in my voice, then going forward with the rest of them, you can make sure that you do that on the rest of them. So, it saves time. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it gets to lunchtime now for me. I'm going to have a little ear break. have some lunch, walk the dog or whatever, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get the first draft started. Now, like I said, usually I like to do it the next day, but for these particular songs, we just want to push through. So after lunch, we're going to do these first drafts, and then we're probably going to set up a few more mixes so we can, you know, get started on those as well. So day 2, it's now Tuesday. The first thing that I'm going to do is car test my 2 songs, write down what revisions need to be made, and then come back in the studio and make those revisions. That is the order of the day, right? That is the whole point of Tuesday, is just going to be about finishing off those 2 tracks and getting them sent to the artist. Now, hopefully, you know, again, communication is going to be key. Let them know what you're doing, and just you know, let them know, boom, if you can get some rough feedback. Like, this isn't going to be the final version of probably, but just some rough feedback so I can get an idea that you like how they're sounding. That way we can get started on the rest of the songs. So you get your feedback back. You're happy with 6 and 9 now. So what we can do now, this is going to save so much time, and I'm going to show you why. So say we come back in on Wednesday. Now it's Wednesday and we want to get started. We want to get some solid starts. Now we can't, again, we need to be efficient. So we can't be spending a whole day on 2 songs like we did with these 2. So we want to get solid starts done on quite a few of these the next day, if possible. So a way that I found was, 1, to make it really efficient, and 2, to make sure that you're getting a good, consistent sound throughout the tape, is this shortcut. I'll cheat. I'll do this shortcut right here. And this is in Pro Tools. There's probably a similar thing that you can do in any DAW. We're going to import our plugins from those two songs that I said. What was it? 6 and 9. We're going to import the plugins we used. Now, you're going to have to adjust the settings. You're never going to be able to use the same EQ on every fucking vocal that you do. You're going to have to adjust the settings, but it just makes life so much quicker. The plugins are going to be there. You can do some adjustments. You can use the same reverb. You can use the same, you know what I'm saying? It just makes it a lot quicker, and it's going to make sure that the song has a similar sound all the way through. So, sorry, I didn't show you what I just did there. So in Pro Tools, you can do this in any DAW, but this is the way that you do it in Pro Tools. You go to import here, session data, pick the song you want. So let's say this is the song. And then we're not going to copy every track, by the way. We're just going to copy our lead vocals bus. And we're going to copy that to our lead vocals in this track. We're going to copy all vocals, background vocals, and then anything else is probably going to be something that is going to need to be different case to case, like especially with the stems, the beat stems, sorry. And we're going to click do not import, and we're going to choose, and then you're going to go through and click what you want it to import. I've got this preset that I made, which only imports the main output assignments, send volume automation and setting, send output assignments, plugin assignments, plugin settings and automation, hardware insert assignments, input assignments. And that's just with those ticked, it makes sure that it imports the plugins with the settings. It also makes sure it imports your inputs and outputs, etc., etc. And then if we click OK, yeah, so that basically will save you a lot of time, because you can just dive straight into the plug. All of our plugins are here, and we can just go in. We can just go in and adjust them where need be. You know, if we need to do some different EQs, whatever. And then obviously you can chop and change. If a vocals on this particular song, like, it especially helps when it's all been recorded in the same place. But say if, I don't know, this vocal's not as bright as the last ones, you might want to add a different EQ. Rare. But that process there is going to save you a lot of time. Using the same plugins is going to make sure that you are keeping a consistent sound throughout. And yeah, it's just going to overall make your life easier. So that's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to be able to get a lot more tracks, solid start. You know, you're going to be able to get a solid start on a lot more tracks in a lot shorter time, I found. So that's what I did in the morning in my most productive time with fresh airs. Then I would have lunch again. And then in the second part of the day, again, is going to be more admin days. It's going to be more of the boring stuff. So the second half of the day, we're going to do some more mix setups. And the next morning, I'll come in, get solid starts on some more. Yeah? And it's just rinse and repeat. And then in the afternoon, when I'm less productive, we're going to do some mix setups in the morning. And we're going to just repeat that until we can just go through and get first drafts on every song. And what that basically means is, okay, cool. All of these songs are now ready to listen in the car and on the phone. And I'm going to listen to the entire project in my car. I'm going to listen to the entire project on my phone. I was driving around Croydon. I live in Thornton Heath. And I remember it was about 4:00 in the morning. And I drove up to Purley Way. I'm surprised I didn't get pulled over because I was just driving around in circles at 4:00 in the morning, just listening to this tape, taking notes. And then eventually we can go through, do our revisions, blah, 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 and finally send it off to the artist. Again, communication is going to be key. Don't be scared to tell them what to do in a sense. Let them know, okay, cool. Listen to the tape, take notes. And then what I like to do is I like to have a sit-in with the client. I don't like to mix with the client because one, they're not going to be able to have the same schedule as me. Two, I just think it's better for me to mix on my own. I just work better on my own. What are the chances they're going to be able to come in every day on the time that I want them to be there? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just not, I don't think it works. So let them know, just take some notes, and then you can call them in to the studio and you can listen to the whole project together. They can say, okay, cool. On this track, I didn't like this, or on this track, can you do this? On this track, can you take that snare out? Can you take that sound out? Can you take the drums out on the second verse? Like, you can just go over the tape and just fine tune everything. And just make sure they are happy, because that is the main thing, is that they are happy, they are comfortable with releasing this as a project. Then you're going to want them to take it away again. So take away all of these new versions you did in the studio. Let them listen to it 100 times in the car and everything else. And then they're probably going to send you a few more revisions. You're going to do those revisions, send it back, and they're going to say, sweet, it's ready. And then it's just a job of making sure volume wise it all matches. I can't really say there's much secret to that. I know it's cliche, use your ears, but I just started off on track 1, mastered it to the loudest I could make it without it being distorted and just sounding, I just trying to make it sound good. And then I would go to track 2 and I would A/B it. So I'll switch to track 1 and switch back to track 2, and I say, okay, it needs to be a little bit louder, just push the volume a little bit, and then do the same with track 3. I'd load up track 2 and track 3's project and A/B it, listen to go between 2 and 3, and then say, okay, this needs to be a little bit brighter. I kind of find that it only needs to be as loud as its previous song, just so there's not any jumps in volume. Some songs are going to be a bit harder to push louder, unfortunately, but that's just going to be something you're going to have to resolve. But overall, this is kind of my process. Just switching between the track before it and the current track, adjusting the volume a little bit, maybe adjusting the brightness. Maybe it's not that it needs to be a bit louder. Maybe it just needs to be a bit brighter. If you can't push it any louder just because of the sonics of the song, but it feels a lot quieter than the previous song, it might be an EQ thing. It might be a thing that it just needs to be brighter. The vocals just need to be up a touch. And usually the mastering aspect of it, the volume matching, should I say, is the easiest aspect of it, and you shouldn't need to do any more revisions after that. So then you can bounce them all off. They need to be at 24-bit or 16-bit. I use 24-bit. 32-bit, I don't think Spotify and Apple Music accept 32-bit, so it needs to be 16 or 24-bit. Also, they're going to want MP3s, so bounce all of the tracks as MP3s as well. Some tracks they're going to want clean versions, some they're going to want PAs. But overall, this is how I mixed that particular mixtape, and that's what I found worked the best, because I managed to get the whole thing done in about a week and a half, which was a grind, because obviously I wasn't just working on that album. I was recording, I was working, but this is what helped me get it done efficiently, and also helped me get that consistent sound all the way through. And I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. So if you want this little template here, obviously I'll uncheck these boxes. I'll put it in the description below. So you just need to you just need to edit it. You can open it in Google Sheets, which is free. And yeah, that is my process. I think it's nothing groundbreaking, don't get me wrong, but I just know when I was sitting down to mix this project, it was a daunting task, because I didn't even know where to start. So just having a little bit of a structure, having a little bit of something to follow really helped me stay focused, and really helped me achieve what I wanted to achieve efficiently and to a good standard. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, ding the bell and all of that stuff. Let me know what you want to see in the comments, what videos you want to see me do. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.